A judge tells a single dad, "Spend one night with me and you walk free," and he decides. That sentence alone could shatter a man's soul, but for Ethan Cole, it shattered his entire world. The courtroom was cold enough to make his fingers numb, but the words burned through him like wildfire. He stood there, hands shaking slightly, breath unsteady, a hollow ache spreading through his chest as Judge Mariana Vale leaned back in her leather chair, tapping a manicured nail against her gavel. No one else heard her whisper. Only him. Only the man she knew was desperate enough to break. Ethan swallowed hard, tasting metal, fear, humiliation. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't even supposed to be here. But life had a cruel way of dragging good men into storms they never asked for. All he cared about, all he fought for, all he prayed to protect was his daughter, Lily, 9 years old, pigtails, a smile bright enough to heal the darkest parts of him. And now, that smile was in the hands of a woman who wielded power like a knife. Judge Vale's perfume, sharp, icy, expensive, hung in the air between them as she closed the case file. "You're a single father with no money, no lawyer, and no relatives fighting for you," she murmured, voice low, silky, dangerous. "One night. That's all. You walk free, and the custody review disappears." Ethan's knees nearly buckled. The fluorescent lights buzzed above him. The courtroom felt smaller, the walls inching closer, suffocating him. His pulse hammered in his ears. His palms grew damp. The wooden floor creaked when he stepped back, as if recoiling from the poison in her proposal. This wasn't justice. This wasn't negotiation. This was a trap, a cage. But Lily, God, Lily, if he refused, he risked losing her. If he agreed, he lost himself. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Why are you doing this?" Judge Vale tilted her head, lips twisting into a cold smile. "Because men like you don't fight back," she answered. "Men with something to lose always break." Ethan's heart clenched, but she didn't know him. She didn't know the fire inside him. She didn't know the promises he'd made to a little girl who trusted him more than the world itself. He would not break. Not tonight. Not ever. But Ethan had no idea someone else had overheard the judge's proposition, and their decision would change everything. Ethan stood frozen in the hallway, the cold breeze from the air vent brushing against the sweat on his neck. Shame and fear spun through him in heavy waves, but the woman in front of him, Harper, felt like the first steady thing he'd seen all day. Her presence didn't calm the storm in him, but it gave it shape. It made it feel survivable. Her voice trembled, just barely. "I didn't want to overhear, but when I realized what she was doing, I couldn't just walk away." He swallowed hard, throat tight. People don't usually help. Harper's eyes softened with a sorrow that told him she understood that sentence too well. They don't. Not until they've lived it. The fluorescent lights above them flickered, casting long shadows against the polished floor. Harper stepped closer, lowering her voice, like she was afraid the walls themselves might carry their words back to the judge. "I know what it's like when someone powerful thinks they can do whatever they want to you," she said. "I know what it's like to feel trapped, cornered, terrified that one wrong move could cost you the person you love most." Ethan's heart tugged, painful, understanding. You have a kid too?" A small, sad smile touched her lips. "No, but I lost someone because a judge decided she didn't believe me." Ethan inhaled sharply. Judge Vale. Again, like her shadow stretched further than either of them realized. "What happened?" he asked gently. Harper hesitated, eyes drifting to the floor. Her fingers tightened on the folder she held, knuckles white. "My sister. She had a restraining order, but Judge Vale dismissed it, called her dramatic, emotional." Harper's voice cracked. 2 months later, my sister was gone." Ethan felt the hallway tilt, Not physically, emotionally. He could feel the weight of her grief pressing into the air between them, thick enough to taste. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "She was all I had," Harper breathed. "And now Judge Vale is trying to destroy someone else. Someone who only wants to protect his child." Her eyes locked onto his. "I can't let her hurt another family." Ethan's chest tightened. There was fear in him, deep, primal, but Harper's conviction lit something in him he thought he'd lost. Courage. She stepped even closer. "Let me help you, Ethan." He didn't know her. He didn't trust easily. But something about her voice, her pain, her resolve, made him believe. Harper wasn't just offering help, she had a secret plan. And Ethan was about to learn the risk she was willing to take for him. Ethan stared at Harper, trying to understand why a complete stranger would risk anything, let alone everything, for him. People weren't like this. Not in his world. Not in courtrooms, where truth bent under the weight of power and money. But Harper. She stood in front of him like someone who'd already bled too much to let another person be cut open the same way. "What do you mean, help me?" Ethan asked quietly. Harper looked around, making sure no one lingered nearby. The hallway was nearly empty now, just the distant echo of heels, the hum of vending machines, and the low murmur of court staff behind closed doors. She took a steady breath. "I have something," she whispered. "Something about Judge Vale. Something no one knows I kept." Ethan's heart jumped. "Harper? What kind of something?" She pulled her folder tighter against her chest, as if it held her last fragment of courage. "My sister recorded a conversation the day Judge Vale dismissed her restraining order. It was on her old phone. The conversation shouldn't exist, but it does." Harper swallowed hard. Judge Vale pressured her, threatened to make her lose custody of her son if she didn't drop her case. Ethan's blood ran cold. Judge Vale had done this before. His nightmare wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. Harper continued, voice low and trembling. "I wanted to expose her. I tried. No one listened." Her eyes glistened with old grief, the kind that never softened, only shifted its shape. "But now, if we come forward together? Your case, my evidence. 2 stories instead of 1. Maybe this time someone will finally believe us." Ethan shook his head, fear flooding in fast. "That judge controls my custody hearing. If she finds out we're doing anything, she'll take Lily. She'll bury me alive." Harper stepped closer, her voice steady, like she was anchoring him with each word. "Do you think she'll stop if you do nothing? Women like her don't stop. They escalate." He closed his eyes as Lily's face filled his mind, the missing tooth smile, the paint stains on her pajamas, the way she whispered, "Daddy, promise you won't ever leave me." Whenever she had a bad dream, he couldn't lose her, he couldn't risk her, but doing nothing felt like drowning with his eyes open. Harper saw the war inside him and gently touched his arm. "Ethan, you're a good father. And good fathers don't deserve to be broken by monsters." A single tear slipped down his cheek, a quiet, weary surrender not to defeat, but to the truth he'd been avoiding. He needed help, and maybe, just maybe, he'd found it. But Harper's plan required someone else, someone Ethan never expected to see again, and whose involvement could change everything. The moment Harper said, "There's one more person we need," Ethan felt something shift in the air, like the hallway suddenly tightened around him. His stomach knotted, a chill crawling across his shoulders. He didn't want more people involved. He didn't want more danger circling Lily, but Harper's expression was steady, unwavering, as if she already knew he would resist. "Who?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Harper took a breath, bracing herself. "Detective Rowan Hale." Ethan froze, his chest tightened, memories roaring back in like a storm, Rowan's badge glinting under streetlights. The night everything fell apart, the arguments, the promises broken in the chaos of grief. Rowan wasn't a stranger. He was Ethan's older brother. "No," Ethan whispered immediately. "Absolutely not. Harper didn't flinch. You told me you had no one who could help. You never said you had a detective for a brother. He's not he and I. Ethan's voice cracked, frustration and hurt bleeding through. We haven't talked in 2 years. Harper softened, but she didn't step back. Ethan, Rowan works internal investigations. He's dealt with corrupt officials. He knows the system inside out. If we come forward, we need someone inside the walls we're trying to break down. Ethan shook his head hard, breath unsteady. He won't help. He made his choice. He left when Lily and I needed him most. Harper's eyes filled with something gentle, something understanding. Sometimes people leave because they don't know how to stay, she said softly, and sometimes they're waiting for one chance to make things right. He wanted to argue. He wanted to say Rowan didn't care. But sudden footsteps echoed from behind, and Ethan turned, his heart stopping as a familiar voice cut through the hall. I'm not leaving this time. Ethan's breath shattered in his chest. There he stood, Rowan, hair a little grayer at the temples, eyes tired but burning with something fierce. He held his badge lightly in one hand, like it weighed more than he could explain. Harper exhaled, relief flickering through her features. You knew he was here, Ethan whispered, stunned. Harper nodded. I called him before I approached you. I wasn't going to let you fight this alone. Rowan stepped closer, the air between the brothers thick with history, anger, love, regret, years of silence. Ethan, I heard what she did, and I'm done standing back while our family gets torn apart. Ethan stared at him, heart trembling, torn between fury and the deep ache of missing someone he once trusted with his life. Rowan held his gaze. Let me help you protect Lily, please. Ethan's knees felt weak. For the first time, he wasn't just facing a nightmare. He wasn't just surviving. He had people broken, wounded, fighting their own ghosts standing beside him. But confronting Judge Vale would demand a sacrifice Ethan never expected, and the cost would push him to the brink. Ethan didn't speak at first. He couldn't. Seeing Rowan again felt like reopening a wound that had never healed right. Raw, aching, still bleeding beneath the surface. For 2 years, he'd carried the weight of being alone, of raising Lily without the brother who once promised he'd never let Ethan fall. And now Rowan stood here, eyes filled with regret. Ethan wasn't ready to accept. Harper gently stepped back, giving them space, but she stayed close enough to be a quiet anchor in the storm. Rowan took a slow breath. I know I don't deserve your trust. I know I left when everything was falling apart. But I'm here now because Judge Vale crossed a line even I can't ignore. Ethan's jaw tightened. You left after Mia died, he whispered. His late wife's name tasted like grief and ashes on his tongue. Lily cried for you. I cried for you. You didn't just walk away, you disappeared. Rowan's eyes glistened, the shame unmistakable. I was drowning, Ethan. I didn't know how to help when I couldn't even breathe. His voice broke. But that's not an excuse. I failed you. Silence settled between them, thick as fog, heavy with all the words they'd never said. Ethan looked away, blinking rapidly. He didn't want to cry. Not here, not now, not in front of the brother who left him behind. But the ache was too deep, too real. Harper stepped forward, voice softening the air. If we want to expose Vale, we have to move fast, and we have to do it together. Her power is strong, but her pattern of abuse is stronger. If we show the state attorney your story, my evidence, and Rowan's testimony, maybe we have a chance. Ethan's heart hammered. Chance. Such a fragile word, but it was more than he had before. Rowan nodded. I already pulled her file. There are complaints sealed, hidden, buried. Harper's sister wasn't the only victim. He took out a small USB drive. This proves it. Ethan stared at it like it was a bomb, because, in a way, it was. If Vale learned what they were planning, she wouldn't just target Ethan. She'd come for Harper, Rowan, Lily. His breath trembled. Rowan, if we do this, she'll come after us. Rowan didn't hesitate. Then let her come. This time, you won't face her alone. Ethan shut his eyes, overwhelmed by the weight of fear and hope twisting together inside him. When he looked up, Harper stepped closer and laid a gentle hand on his arm. You've carried everything alone for so long, she whispered. Let us carry this with you. And in that moment, surrounded by two broken souls who refused to let him fall, Ethan felt something in him begin to unshackle. Strength, determination, the faint but steady rise of courage. But before they could expose Judge Vale, she struck first, forcing Ethan into an impossible choice that could cost him everything. Judge Vale moved faster than any of them expected. Ethan woke the next morning to the buzzing of his phone on the nightstand. At first, he thought it was Rowan or Harper, maybe to finalize the time to meet the state attorney, maybe to reassure him they had everything under control. But when he picked up the phone and saw the message glowing on the screen, his entire body went cold. Emergency custody review today at 4 p.m. His breath stopped. No hearing was scheduled for weeks. No notice. No warning. This was her, Judge Vale, striking first. Lily, Ethan whispered, voice trembling. He jolted out of bed, feet hitting the cold floor as panic clawed at his chest. He rushed to her room where she slept, tangled in star-patterned blankets, her little arm wrapped around that stuffed bear she carried everywhere. Innocent, unaware, his entire world. He sank onto the edge of her bed, hands shaking as he brushed a curl off her forehead. I won't let them take you, he whispered. Not again. Not ever. But how could he protect her when the enemy wore a black robe? His phone buzzed again. This time it was Rowan. She's trying to take Lily today. We need to move. Now. A moment later, Harper called. Ethan answered immediately, barely holding himself together. Her voice was breathless, urgent. Ethan, she filed an emergency order claiming you're unstable, unfit, a danger. She's using everything, your finances, Mia's death, even the grief counseling you took Lily to. She twisted it all. Ethan felt the world tilt. She can't do this. She already is, Harper whispered. And unless we get the evidence to the state attorney before 4 o'clock, she will win. Ethan felt his heartbeat pounding against his ribs, fast and painful. Where do I meet you? At Rowan's office. 10 minutes. Her voice cracked with emotion. She wasn't hiding anymore. Ethan, we're going to save Lily. I promise you. He hung up, inhaling deeply, trying to steady the chaos in his chest. He turned to wake Lily gently. She blinked up at him sleepily, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, why do you look sad? The question shattered him. He gathered her into his arms, holding her so tightly she giggled against his shoulder. I'm not sad, sweetheart, he whispered, though his voice shook. I'm just thinking very hard. She hugged him back, warm, safe, trusting. He felt tears sting the corners of his eyes. He had hours, just hours to save her. He lifted her gently, kissed the top of her head, and whispered a promise into her hair. One he would break himself before he ever broke to Judge Vale. I'm going to protect you, no matter the cost. But the cost would come sooner than Ethan expected, because when he reached Rowan's office, danger was already waiting for them. Ethan felt the panic rising with every red light, every second ticking closer to 4 o'clock. Lily sat in the back seat, swinging her feet, humming softly to her stuffed bear, blissfully unaware that the world was trying to steal her from her father. Harper kept calling with updates. Rowan sent voice notes with instructions. But the closer Ethan got to Rowan's office, the more the fear inside him tightened like a fist around his lungs. When he finally pulled into the parking lot, he saw Rowan standing outside, pacing, phone in hand. Harper was there too, holding her folder like it was the last fragile piece of truth left in a world full of lies. But something felt wrong. Rowan wasn't looking at Ethan, he was looking past him, scanning, watching, tense, alert. Ethan got out, lifting Lily into his arms. But the moment his feet hit the ground, Rowan's voice cut sharply through the air. "Get inside." "No." Ethan froze. "What's happening?" Rowan didn't answer. He reached for Lily, guiding them toward the door with urgency Ethan had never seen in him. Harper stepped closer too, eyes wide, breath quick. "Ethan," she whispered. She sensed someone. His stomach dropped. "Who?" Rowan shoved open the office door. Two men in plain clothes. Court security on her payroll. They were sitting in a car across the street for an hour. His jaw tightened. "They're here to take Lily before the hearing even starts." Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. Harper locked the door behind them, voice trembling. "We have to get this evidence out before they force their way in." The office lights buzzed overhead. Papers rustled as Rowan cleared space on his desk. Harper opened her folder with shaking fingers. Ethan set Lily down with her bare, kneeling to look in her eyes. "Stay right here, sweetheart," he whispered. "Okay? Don't be scared." She nodded, sensing everything but understanding nothing. She clung to his sleeve briefly before letting go. Harper handed Rowan the USB drive. "This has the recording. My sister's plea. Everything." Rowan plugged it into his laptop, hitting play. A voice filled the room, broken, desperate, but strong enough to haunt the walls. "Judge Vale, please. He's coming for me. I need help. Please don't make me drop this." Ethan felt tears sting his eyes. Harper covered her mouth as if reliving her sister's last days. Rowan exhaled shakily, jaw clenching. "We take this to the state attorney right now," Rowan said. "Once it's submitted formally, Vale can't bury it." A sudden bang hit the door, loud, violent, echoing through the room. Harper jumped. Lily clutched her bear to her chest. Another bang, and another. "Open up!" a man shouted from outside. "Court order! We're taking the child!" Ethan's blood turned to ice. Rowan grabbed his badge, his voice dropping to a fierce whisper. "I'll stall them. You get Harper and Lily out the back. Go straight to the attorney's office. Do not look back." Ethan grabbed Harper's hand. She grabbed Lily's. Another slam rattled the door, brutal, final. "Go!" Rowan shouted. Ethan didn't hesitate. He ran for the back exit, with Lily's frightened breaths in his ears, with Harper gripping him like her life depended on it, with the sound of forced entry echoing behind them. He didn't know if they'd make it. He didn't know if Rowan could buy them enough time. He didn't know what waited for them at the next corner. But he knew one thing. He would burn the world down before he lost his daughter. And just when Ethan thought the nightmare had reached its peak, the next moment would change everything forever. The back alley was colder than the rest of the city, as if the shadows themselves were holding their breath. Ethan clutched Lily close while Harper hurried beside him, her fingers trembling around the evidence folder. Their footsteps echoed against the concrete walls. Every sound felt louder, sharper, more dangerous. They made it halfway down the alley when a silhouette stepped out from behind a dumpster. Tall, broad shoulders, no uniform, but the stance of someone trained. Harper froze. Ethan's heart slammed into his ribs. The man raised one hand. "Hand over the child," he said calmly. "And nobody gets hurt." Lily whimpered, burying her face into Ethan's chest. "No," Ethan hissed. "Get out of our way." The man sighed, disappointed, almost bored. "Sir, I'm not here to argue. Court order. Stand down." But Ethan could see it in his eyes. This wasn't a man following the law. This was someone paid to do a job, no questions asked. Harper stepped in front of Ethan, surprising even herself. "You're not taking her," she said, voice trembling but fierce. The man took one step forward. Harper tightened her grip on the folder. "This proves everything. Judge Vale's going down. You really want to be tied to her when she falls?" For the first time, the man hesitated. A small shift, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. Harper pressed. We submitted it electronically already. State attorney will have it any second. If you lay a hand on us now, it's over for you. That was a lie. Ethan knew it. Harper knew it. But the man didn't. He froze, jaw clenched, eyes darting to the alley entrance, as if calculating whether this job was worth prison. Then, a voice echoed from behind them. Hey, Ethan turned. Rowan, breathing hard. Tee loose, badge out, eyes blazing with fury. The man stiffened. Rowan marched toward them like a storm. You touch that family, and I will personally make sure you never see daylight again. Step back. The man swallowed hard, then slowly raised both hands. I was just following orders. Follow this one, Rowan snapped. Leave. The man backed away, disappeared around the corner, and ran. Harper nearly collapsed from relief. Ethan held her steady with one arm and Lily with the other as Rowan reached them. Are you okay? Rowan asked, voice raw with adrenaline. No, Ethan whispered. But we will be. Rowan nodded, breath unsteady. Come on. We're not safe yet. We need to get to the attorney's office before Vale realizes what's happening. Ethan moved forward faster now, purpose burning through him. But as they reached the end of the alley, Harper suddenly stopped. She wasn't looking at the street. She was staring down at her phone. Her face had gone pale. Ethan, she whispered. Rowan, you need to see this. She held up the screen. A news alert, a headline, a picture of Judge Vale, and the words that made Ethan's blood turn cold. State investigates. Judge Vale in connection to witness death cover-up. Rowan's eyes widened. Harper gasped. Ethan felt a surge of hope he hadn't felt in months. Then Harper scrolled down, and the hope shattered. Breaking news ticker. Child protective agents dispatched to locate minor of father involved in case. Rowan whispered. She's panicking. She's turning everything against you. Ethan stared down at Lily. Innocent. Clinging. Trusting. He lifted his head. Yafset. Eyes fierce. Heart burning. Then we end this, he said. Now.